What is it like being a Jamaican in Dominica? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com, and today in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Nancy Nassief, a Jamaican living in Dominica. Welcome, Nancy. How are you?
Xavier, I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Loving the background, loving, the greenery. Oh man, this is awesome.
Well, Dominica is pretty awesome. Dominica is lush. There's so much about it that's very appealing. 365 rivers. If it rains too hard here, you get a waterfall coming off the cliff. It's very green here. And it's a really unique island. It's in the middle of the archipelago of islands coming down from San Juan to Venezuela. It's the largest of the Eastern Caribbean, and it's the most, you can either consider it underdeveloped or the most pure.
All
And
right.
depending on how you want to look at it, I like to look at it as most pure. And
Nice.
it's a beautiful
Nice.
place. How
So
about being Jamaican here?
so let's start with this one.
Uh-huh.
Which part of, because you have me sold already on, listen, the greenery and everything, but starting at Jamaica, which part of Jamaica you come from?
Kingston via Portland.
All right.
So, well, my grandmother lived in Portland, so that's my part of Jamaica. And um, it really helped transitioning here because, as you know, that's the part of Jamaica that's the most lush, lots of rainfall, least perhaps developed in Jamaica, but
Right.
absolutely beautiful.
Okay. Which school you representing? High school.
Well, I am definitely representing Immaculate.
All right.
Immaculate Conception High. It, it has been a privilege, really, to go there. I learned so much life lessons there, uh,
Right.
which
Nice.
I actually have used here. Um, and I have to say that I may have even plagiarized a little bit because we started a school here. And I just transferred a lot of what I knew in terms of the the uniform, the creeds. The creed for Immaculate is ad aspera per aspera, which means to the stars through difficulty, or vice versa. And it was very appropriate for this endeavor.
Okay. So you kind of went a little forward, and maybe the school is the reason you're there. Tell us the story of how you ended up in Dominica.
That's a story on how to get married, I suppose. But
Okay.
um, I was living in New York. I met my husband to be there, and he was returning home to Dominica. My husband's name is Ivor, and he asked me to come and visit, and so I did. And
Love
well,
in Dominica.
and so I refer to myself often in joke as the import, um, because you either love it or hate it here, and I counted on my fingers what really makes me happy, and I basically could find all of them here. The things that I didn't have here, a trip abroad could take care of that quickly,
Right.
like a great movie house, something as silly as that. But here, I think the thing that caught my attention was if you had the muscle and the will, you could actually make a huge difference here. And
So,
so I guess the school is an example of that.
which is where I was going. You were mentioning you started a school. Is it a high school? Is it middle school, infant school?
So I actually started two. I started a preschool, which was motivated by the birth of my first daughter. And the known school at the time, Mrs. Eugene's school, was actually closing at the same time that my daughter was ready for school. So I went to her and I said, I beg you, just keep open one more year. I will find this, I will do that, I will fundraise, I will get you this. It will be exciting. We can't let this good thing die. Everybody says great things about you and this school. And I have observed that they're all true, and she let me. And
Nice.
so that was the first school. And then by a series of situations that happened, um, myself, my husband, and some other parents got involved in opening a prep school up until age 10, and it was a really huge and miraculous task. But it's still open today, and it did well and broke all the norms that we aggressive Jamaicans tend to do wherever we go. So no different than the rest of our exported population.
Trailing as always, blazing a trail and doing new things. Amazing. So
It's very special here because um, when I first came here, I only heard about a few Jamaican women, and interestingly, the leader of the opposition at the time, his mother was a Jamaican lady. Um, the I was telling you this before. I think we all remember Marie Garth.
yes,
She was a radio personality. Well,
yes.
her sister was here, and she had married a very top gynecologist here. And well, it was important to know Auntie Althea because she has a ackee tree. And there are actually a bunch of Jamaicans. The pediatrician for my daughter was a Jamaican lady who had just moved here. And so this I'm talking about 30 odd years ago. So it was kind of nice. One time I met a bus driver, the first female bus driver that I met here, and she's a Jamaican lady. So
Wow.
and she's a lady.
That is amazing.
So it it's Jamaicans are everywhere.
Oh, listen, trust me when I tell you, I know that. I've gone over 90 interviews with Jamaicans in different countries. So trust me, when we used to joke about it and said there's a Jamaican any part of this world, I can attest that it is true. So
Absolutely.
my next question is, what are the people in Dominica like?
When I first came here, it was a really different experience. Historically, Dominica was never like the other islands. With slavery, so there were no plantations here because everything is a huge hill and a gully and a cliff. And so historically, runaway slaves found themselves here. And so there, I attribute that to a certain sweetness, but also a certain boldness that I found here. So when I first came here, people would walk up to me and this is what they would say: I like to see you. I want to be your friend. And I was like, hello, what? What? So there's another thing that I noticed that people here, when they spoke in the continuous text. Like we would say, I'm going to the supermarket. They would say, I going supermarket, or I going market, or I doing, or here they won't say so and so is my boyfriend, they would say, I love in so and so. So the speech patterns caught my attention. I have no idea why, but I found it very different, very charming. Um,
All
Having
right.
people walk up to me and say, I want to be your friend, I didn't know how to take that until it took me a while to realize that I was a curiosity. Um,
Why?
I, I was a curiosity because, unlike Jamaica, there are no Chinese here really, unless they were with the embassy of Taiwan. There was one Indian family. I'm not sure how they got here, but the population is not very, very mixed in the way it is in Jamaica. So it was it was fascinating to see me, and nobody found it easy to accept that I was from Jamaica. Wrong hair, wrong color, wrong everything. And, when the big thing to do when you get here is to go to the market early, like 6 o'clock Saturday morning. And I'd have these experiences when I first came here. Um, and they would look at me and they'd say, you speak very good English. Where are you from? So I would say Jamaica, and we'd have to do this 3 times. And they're saying, but you don't look Jamaican. And I said, well, what do you expect me to look like? And then we'd have a good laugh at that because it was a learning curve for them too. And it became so often that I would simply say to them, thank you very much. Thank you. I speak English. Thank you very much.
So you're saying you got tired of explaining
Yeah.
your heritage and being Jamaican and being of Chinese Jamaican heritage.
Yeah. It just didn't fit the mold here. Um,
Well,
there's there's also the thing that you come from a big island and you think you're big and you're broad, and it's automatically assumed. And so that was something I didn't realize, of course, until I got here, because um,
so we're viewed in a there's a particular perception is what you're saying of Jamaicans there in Dominica.
I would think it's a little. It certainly at that time was more than Dominica. You know, um, Jamaicans are revered. Boy, you better edit that. I'm not sure about that, but Jamaicans are definitely looked up to in music and in many fields, sports, and in having generally strong personalities.
Okay.
I don't consider that I have a strong personality, but I think here I appear to have a strong personality,
Okay.
and I'm good with that. It took me a while, but I'm good with that now.
Yeah, this is something we could dive in. It's something we hear about, and I think, there's a whole lot of factors in terms of just how we deal with things. I think, my kids will say, man, we just take things and we're just tough, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And so I think that's part of it. You get a nickname that stick with you, that is one of the worst nicknames, but we roll with it, you
yeah.
know. So you touched on music there. What's the dominant music you hear in
Zouk,
Dominica?
zouk. Um, it's a French Creole based music, and I think it's lovely. Um, in my mind, I think of it like the food here is very different from back home. We tend to have spicy. We cook with a lot of pimento. There's Scotch bonnet pepper, blah blah blah. Here, none of that happens. But everything here is cooked fresh. So I actually parallel it with the music. The music is soft and flowing and has a constant rhythm. Um, and lyrical, like it's not like jazz, but it's actually a great genre, and I appreciate it very much. But
Okay.
compared to Jamaica, where that one really touches your soul and can speak universally, I
Right.
suppose. Uh,
So
that's
any
just a
reg
different.
are you hearing any reggae?
Oh yes. So um, there's a guy called Screws here. He's a real special person, and when he found out I was Jamaica, he was like, "That's it." He wanted me to know that he loved Bob Marley. He loved everything Jamaican. He loved Jamaican food. He loved Jamaican people. He just loved Jamaica. And he's a rank Dominican. So, yeah. Uh,
Wait. Rank Dominican. I learning a term here now. What does that term mean?
well, that's actually a rank Jamaican means you're a Jamaican times three.
Okay.
But um, so I just borrowed that to say that he is born, bred, never lived away from here, Dominica. And yet he is so in love with things Jamaican. So
Awesome.
it was unexpected, but I think he's a great guy. He's very
Yes.
he has singularly done incredible things here.
Right.
Um, he was one of the most talked of. That's another story. But Screws opened a hot spring spa from the geothermal hot springs that we get here, and he was the hit of the cruise circuit in the islands because there's nothing like it anywhere else. He was
Wow.
not necessarily the first one, but he was the first one that made it commercial,
I
and
see.
it's
So
an incredible thing.
so you touched on two things, which I'm gonna maybe come back to the hot springs, but you talked a little bit about food, and you were saying, it's French influenced and cooked fresh and so forth. If there was a dish that you would recommend we try or anyone try, if wait, what? Or two
Two.
dishes. Okay, two dishes that anyone would try if they come to Dominica. What would those two dishes be?
First, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but crabbacks. So it's I don't know if it's a national dish, but it's a seasonal dish. And it is stuffed crab, but it is very different from Jamaica. I find it more flavorful, yes, and they do not put Scotch bonnet in there, but it is a speciality. It's in season from October to I think the end of January, um, which I find fascinating because the forestry division here sets seasons on certain wildlife here, and in general, it's adhered to, and I find that amazing. The second one is what they refer to as callaloo soup, and it's not made from spinach; it's made from dasheen leaves. It has crab in it, it has smoked pork in it, and it's truly delicious.
All right.
I rate it. I
All
Every
right.
time I go home and I talk about the crabback, somebody's like, "We have very good crabbacks here," and I said, "Yes, I know, but you need to trust me on this one."
So we're going to try the crab back and the callaloo soup.
Yes, definitely.
Fruits. Are
Fruit,
you getting all the fruits you would have gotten in Jamaica there? Your
very
mango.
little maize
Let's
berry,
start with the most important one. The
Bombay
mango.
mango.
Are you
No,
getting your Julie? You're getting your East Indian, your Bombay,
no,
your Blackie, your
no. You're getting Julie mango, which is called grafted here. You're getting that all the time. It's profuse. But my favorite mango in the world is Bombay first, two East Indian, and they do not have them here. They do have a host of other local mangoes that are lovely, similar to hairy mango, but everyone calls them by different names, but they are nice. But the premium mango here is the grafted or the Julie mango.
all right. So I mean, at least you're getting one of the, yeah.
But what I miss completely and 1000% is A, yellow yam, B, yellow breadfruit from Portland. Oh my goodness. I really, truly miss that.
If you're going to visit Nancy, make sure you take a yellow heart breadfruit for her.
Yeah, that would do. That would definitely do.
Boil yam or roast yam.
Beggars not choosers now. I'm taking it any way it coming.
So, in terms of places to visit, if you'd say, if I, if I visit the island, what's that one spot you'd say you have to go see this, or maybe an event? You may say, come this time of the year. There is an event that happens this time of the year. You have to come to this event. What would that be?
So there's a list. First of all, Dominica has World Heritage sites, one of which is the Boiling Lake. Takes 4 hours to get there one way. You pass the Valley of Desolation, also in the World Heritage
Wait. 4 hours?
4 hours one way. I have done it 5 times. I'm never going to do it again.
Okay. Is it because of the hill? Is it because of the road? Because 4 hours.
One way.
I've looked at Dominica, and I can't imagine having a 4 hour journey.
That's because I don't know what you're looking at, but it's full of mountains. I mean, when Christopher Columbus came back from the Caribbean and he saw the king and queen, he crushed a piece of paper, threw it down, and said, "This is Dominica." He really wasn't exaggerating. We live mostly on the coastal areas, and the interior is a backbone of absolute mountainous volcanoes. The island has like 11, 12 volcanoes. And so whenever I go on a hike and to see something, I wonder who went there first? Who came to this little island and traveled up and down these mountains and valleys and crossed the rivers and went up again and made it to this point?
Wow.
So there is that's why it's the largest, because land mass is the largest here.
Wow.
But
so this
lake is
4 hour drive.
spectacular.
So this hot spring, you said, a 4 hour drive.
4 hour walk, climbing up and down several mountains. You cross a river.
We're walking.
No, you don't drive here.
Okay.
You don't drive here, Xavier. You hike, you slip. There's another one more in Diablo thing, that when you get to a certain point, you're literally walking on rootstock for an hour, and you're swinging from branch to branch because you're not touching the ground. So there are lots of trails here, lots of unseen or unspoiled waterfalls, and the Boiling Lake is the second largest in the world, and located here. So amazing. Whatever we have above ground here, the steep mountains, we also have below the sea. We have volcanic activity below the sea. We have depths that as high as we go is as sheer as the cliffs are in the sea.
Right.
The diving here is really big. We are the home base for a bunch of sperm whales. I mean, we're really very filled with nature here. And what's really exciting is that we don't have poisonous anything. So, and within 15 minutes from the city of Roseau, you're in wilderness. You get to see the Trafalgar Falls, and they're a twin fall, and you're right in the valley where the sulfur pools are.
And it sounds like for nature lovers and folks who want.
Spectacular place.
It's amazing.
And we have so many freshwater springs. It's a freshwater spring because somebody has been kind enough to put a PVC pipe or a bamboo shooting off the hillside, and people go there and they fill their bottles with fresh water. Um, After the
Nice.
hurricane, that was it was even bigger than it was before. So we
Mm.
really are a land of food and water. So everywhere you go, somebody's growing green bananas, which is called fig here. Everybody's growing fig, or plantain, or grapefruits are falling off of the trees, or they used to be before Hurricane Maria.
Right.
So it's very abundant here. Things, I tell my friends who come here, if you stand still long enough, you're going to grow. Something's going to grow on you because you stick it in the soil and it grows. So it's an abundant place, um, but it's
So,
also a wild place.
so what do you love to do? And it's something that you said, boy, I have the weekend, or this is what I, Nancy, love to do here at Dominica.
Well, there are many things, but I think what's really special is what is we call liming here. We lime by a river. You drink a tea punch, which is a French rum punch, French inspired rum punch, and you have barbecue. But there are many, many rivers to choose from, and they have deep swimming holes or pools or baths, as it is called here. And it's really special. It's
Nice.
different from swimming in the sea. The sea is fantastic too. We don't have we have two white sand beaches, I think. Everything else is a shade of black, from light black to sparkly black. So that's pretty fascinating. The water is clear, but it's not blue, blue, blue. Um, but everything here is, lush. But I
All
think
right.
I think I'm liking the river more. You feel?
Cost of living, what's it like?
Hmm. That was a before hurricane question and an after hurricane question. So my brain is remembering everything before the hurricane. So after the hurricane hit in 2017, we lost we lost every leaf on every single tree throughout the entire island. So naturally, um, um, food above ground became quite pricey relatively to what we were used to before. One of the interesting things when I moved here 30 years ago was that everything was purchased based on the dollar value. So everything started with a pile. So everything was a 2 EC dollar pile. And if it was scarce, the pile got smaller, but the unit of purchase was $2. Or if it was in season, the pile increased. So now everything, for various reasons, has switched to weight. So now everything is by the pound. And what used to be $2 back 30 years seems to me to be $5 now. So
Ooh, so it's doubled.
a little bit more than doubled. And so that's the unit value of anything you buy, either from a vendor on the side of the road or in the market. And I'm going to say in some cases, it's actually cheaper now to buy by the pound in the supermarket. So it's a
Okay.
little bit weird. Um, but if you eat local, meaning you eat ground provisions, you eat fruits that are in season, be it mangoes or June plum, pomsite that it's called here, or tomatoes when they're more in season than not. Um, it's I, I'm it's much cheaper than if you are used to eating uh, U.S. Imported foods. Those are extremely expensive. So a box of cereal,
Right.
if it's branded, if it's Kellogg's, for example, you're in trouble. That's costing you like 10 US.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That's
but
pricey.
it is
That
pricey for very important things.
yeah.
Um, But if you
By porridge, you probably can't say, let me stop at the roadside and get me some porridge instead. And
well, that's another interesting difference, Xavier. There's not a lot of roadside food vending. When I first came
mm,
here, um, hmm, the most you could get is barbecue chicken. You couldn't get anything else at all. You couldn't get soup. You couldn't get roast yam, roast breadfruit, roast anything. Um, it is only now you're still getting the barbecue chicken, and now people have discovered roasting corn, um, which thank God the Taiwanese weren't here because they introduced to us a breed of corn that is soft. Because before that, I swear that we were roasting jackass corn. You'd broke your teeth on it. So it's it's funny little things like that that
right,
one notices,
right.
um,
Okay.
and yeah. So
So, listen, Nancy, thank you for spending so much time with us, giving us an insight, and on your story there and on the country itself. Now, winding down question. Here is one scenario. You land in Jamaica. You get off the plane. What is that first thing you are doing? Whether it be I have to go to this place or I'm going to get this food.
well, it's very easy. We have to hit Gloria's in Port Royal or Miss May in Helshaw. I know Miss May is not around anymore, but steamed fish, yum, fried fish, yum, and I must get a Devon House rum and raisin or stout or both ice cream cone. Very
You know,
simple.
you know exactly what you want
And
in terms
clearly, the steamed fish comes with yellow yam. Okay.
of. No, we didn't talk about language, but
A little bit.
a little bit, but I didn't ask. Is there Jamaica or Jamaican language, patois or Jamaican language? Is there a language that is spoken there in Dominica?
Yes, there is a Creole. It's it's probably like how we describe patois as a broken English. I guess it would be described as a broken French. Haitians speak Creole, but the Creole here is also different. A very interesting point is that the Creole spoken here is similar to that spoken in St. Lucia as well as New Orleans. That was a surprise. Um,
Okay.
so I think it was said to me that some of the syntax of the English spoken here is actually the translation of the Creole, which is why
Mm,
it's either continuous tense or the verb and the noun are reversed.
right.
Um, so that's interesting. But
So, is it recognized as a second language?
yes, I think one of the wonderful things here is a good time to visit is October, November. That's when they're celebrating independence. Independence is being celebrated then. And nationally, everyone really takes it on. So everybody dresses in their Creole wear, which is a particular madras. Jamaica has one madras, but here it's a multitude of madras. And everyone wears something and they celebrate by eating um, Creole food,
Okay.
um,
Nice.
which is everywhere you go,
Right.
and they celebrate speaking the language. So if you go to church during that time, you will hear the sermon done in Creole, or there are
Nice.
certain songs that are done only in Creole. It's really funny to see me in church then because I can catch one or two of the words in the chorus, and I'm struggling to mouth the rest.
Is
But
that?
it's
I think
rich.
Is that a parrot in the background?
Oh Lord, yeah, that's the most expensive gift I ever received. It's a peacock.
Oh, it's a peacock. Okay, so it's speaking. I think it was trying to speak some Creole there.
Yeah, it's called "Get Me Out of Here."
So final thought, final question is this one. How would you say in Creole goodbye? What's a typical informal way the folks there in Dominica say goodbye?
How about saying "How are you"?
All right, that's fine too.
Sakafet,
What was that?
sakafet,
Sakafe.
fet, fet.
Fe.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Don't
right.
quote me. Don't quote me. I mean, languages are not my strong point.
So Sakafe. And if
He's how you
anyone
doing?
knows, I know
Like Jamaicans
someone.
would say, what going
Oh,
on?
go on. Well,
What
go
go
on.
on?
Anyone wants to put in the comments about how to say the goodbye, please do. We welcome it. Nancy, thank you for spending some time with us again, telling us all about Dominica and the language, the food, and the people. Appreciate you and Saka Fe.
Walk good.
Thank you. I made good follow you. Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.